Hey, this is Chris, and today I wanted to talk to you about the Synth PRO X. The Pro X has had an interesting kind of 12 months or so. All of the influencer type people have actually done their bit and talked about the unit and played it up and all the rest of it. But I was watching a Tim Shoebridge video not too long ago, and he was sort of talking about the fact that the whole hoo-ha had died down, and what's left is a really damn good synth. And for me, it's about the filters and also the effects section. I have been using the Synth Pro for a little while, and the filter section is quite similar in that it uses the OTA style filter on filter number 1, which is the Roland style filter. And then on filter number 2, it's the SSI, which is based on the old SSM filters that you find in the Prophets and the Monopolys and PPGs and everything you can possibly think of, and quite an amazing kind of history of it. But the combination of those two filters is a little bit of a crazy but amazing setup. And of course, with the OTA filter, it works in a low pass or high pass mode. And with the SSI filter, it works in a 2-pole or 4-pole mode. And so between those two, in combination, they can do amazing stuff. Tight, sharp, cutting, warm, fat, just an amazing array of tones between those two. And IK have done some pretty interesting things with them, with the linking of the two filters, etc., etc. I'll see if we can find something along the way as I work. Now, what I wanted to do was actually go through a couple of different presets that are in this machine, and the main reason for that is because of the fact that the presets that they've worked on are absolutely terrific stuff in there. And of course, when you're doing presets, the biggest issue, of course, is who are you making presets for? Admittedly, I don't like many of the presets because of the style. You know, they're done for acid and techno and house and hip hop and all that sort of stuff. I don't do dance music. It's as simple as that. And if you get in front of a synthesizer and you start messing around with it and you think, no, this isn't for me because I don't like the presets, that's kind of crazy thinking. And so what you actually have to do is get involved and find out what this thing can do and strip it back. When I'm working with a new synthesizer, I go back, turn off all the effects, open the filters up completely so we know what we're getting from the oscillators is the complete story. And one of the nifty things about the Pro X is, as are the original Synth Pros, the continuous oscillator waveforms, which are really, really neat. So what I will do is I'll just grab we've got a note going on here. Now, because I'm dealing with 3 different oscillators in the one panel here, what I've done is I've mapped a couple of my controls on my LX Mini so that what we can do is I can turn off, if you look on the screen up here, I've got it actually mapped through a combinator in Reason for whatever reason. But I've turned off 2 of the oscillators, so all you're hearing is that initial oscillator. But what I've done is mapped it so that I can sweep through. I'll open up the filter a bit more so you can hear it. But it goes from a triangle through to a sawtooth, through to a square, through to a pulse. And that gives you so much flexibility just with one oscillator. And of course, you can apply an LFO to it. You can apply an envelope generator to it, so you can get it to sweep through those different harmonic contents, I guess would be the easiest way to call it. And if you're doing that with 3 different oscillators, it means you've got a heck of a lot of flexibility, and we haven't even got out of the oscillator section yet. Of course, you can sync the oscillators, so you can sync 2 to 1 or 1 to 1. It doesn't really matter, to get quite a bit of variation in the sound. And then to put that through those 2 filters we were talking about, the OTA and the SSI filter. 2 envelope generators, 1 for the filter, 1 for the amp, and then we've got a 3rd envelope generator which can be applied wherever you like. They're all looping envelopes, so you can get them to continuously work through tonal changes and stuff like that. And dual LFOs, and if you look at the matrix as what's going on over here, you can see there are a lot of sources and destinations that you can get into here. So enough about that. Let's just sort of talk about sounds again. But what I wanted to do was show this particular preset is actually what they call paraphonic, of course, which means it can do well, hang on a second, I'll get back out of there, go away from that one, we'll go back into it there. So 3 oscillators, and they can sound together, but they're going through the same filter section and the same amplifier section simultaneously, so there's not a lot of variation you can get out of there. But the other thing about the sound that you're listening to is the amount of reverb. If you think about, and delay, I'll turn those 2 down so we don't hear them anymore. But if you think about the amount of variation that you can get, even more so with what our IK have done with the reverb in this. This is the new reverb, which actually has the shimmer effect as one of the algorithms in it. And if you've ever played around with Amplitude in any format, just as a plug-in for your guitar or whatever, there is a ton of variation going on, and some of these reverbs and things like that, they created digitally, and the Amplitude's up to number 5 now. So they've been doing it a long time, and some of these things just sound terrific. And we'll just add in get a little bit of action going on with those. But if I play the sequence, you'll hear now, if you actually have a look up on screen of the computer here, what you'll see is filters have been recorded, filter movements have been recorded, and also effects amounts have been recorded. So if I play that again, so you can see effect amounts with the reverb and the delay, a little bit of resonance control, cut-off frequency controls and stuff like that, and they've been mapped within the sequence that's going on in there, which gives you a heck of a lot of versatility. And between those and the things like the baseline function is a setting that kind of changes the tonality completely of the unit. This is a big fat synthesizer, 3 oscillators, 2 filters, etc., etc. The baseline was something of an enigma, and it had a tonality 3-pole filter. It was like instead of 12 or 24 dB per octave, it was actually 18, which means it's a little bit different in tonality. And of course, the bass line being monophonic, it's taken that paraphonic out of it. So there's so many variations you can get into. Now, I wanted to grab hold of a couple of other ones just to give you an idea, like this one here. Once again, looking up on screen of the computer, you'll see that oscillator sync is in serious mode there. I'll whip across and turn off the reverb. And probably pop the delay down as well, so it's nice and dry there. Now when you start talking about syncing of oscillators, of course the tuning of oscillator 2 is important. So lots and lots of variation going on there with that. And of course, all of these things can be recorded as part of the sequence. Speaking of the sequencer, 16 steps by 4 pages. So you're talking a 64-step sequence. And of course, with the MIDI in and out and all the rest of it, you can clock it with other MIDI devices, and USB means you can clock it with the sequencer DAW, whatever you want to do, like that sort of thing. And again, the other thing you'll notice about this one is it's sweeping those waveforms at the whole start of the chain. So when I press play, the screen will show on the computer. So in that third set of 16 steps, it goes absolutely bonkers, and oscillator 2 and oscillator 3, the waveform gets swept in real time there as part of the sequence. Once again, quite a stunning thing. When I talk about fat sounds, rid of a few of those things just so you can hear it on its own. And then add a bit of reverb back into it, of course. But in this situation, of course, they're working in parallel rather than in series, and they're 2-pole and low pass. Sorry, low pass, 2-pole in that order there. And that gives you an idea of this is a fat synth. It's a fat synth. Of course, being paraphonic, it has a few drawbacks there, but this is a fat monophonic synthesizer for all intents and purposes. And 3 oscillators into 2 filters. It sounds bigger than a lot of the machines I've heard on the market. And, of course, nothing wrong with a monophonic synthesizer. If you're, I don't know, Minimoog, ARP 2600, Odyssey kind of owner or anything like that, this is a small, lightweight little machine, but, God, it packs a punch. The built-in effects are stunning, and there's just some fabulous stuff going on just in here. And, of course, you start getting into your own stuff. And that reverb, I don't have to do too much with that one. Gives you an idea. The two cutoff frequencies are actually linked, so where you set them is quite important. But once you've set them, they will actually work together whenever you do anything with them. And messing with the resonances when they're not linked, while the cutoffs are, it does some absolutely brilliant things. And the last one I'll just actually do for you is this guy here, which is now this combination is we've got the high pass on the OTA, but the two-pole on the SSI. So, and it's in baseline mode as well, which means it's got that. It's been treated or processed to make it sound quite a simple line. And that kind of gives you an idea of where we're sitting with this thing. You can step in your notes and then you can put it into record play and record your knob movements into the sequence. So there's a lot of variation going on there. And once again, as you can see, there is a VST plugin, audio unit plugin, whatever you want to use as far as Mac versus Windows, whatever. And the variations that you have available to you, you can see everything in your matrix. You can look at your effects, the chorus and delay and reverb, the modulation, delay, reverb effects that are available. The other thing that I actually didn't mention is there is a, how you would say, a drive effect, and it's an analog drive effect. And so the way they've actually set this up is the effects, of course, the reverb and the modulation and stuff are digital. So you've got an analog, true analog path between the oscillator, the filter, the amplifier with the drive circuit on it, and then it goes into the there's a send return for the effects section. So true analog with a digital effects section, which means you've got a lot of variation, a lot of lovely tone, and this thing is just amazing. Absolutely kind of love what it can do. Fat as hell, this thing. You should have a listen. Okay, thanks for listening.